The UFC 250 White House card is this weekend, and I am here to help you through these predictions and talk about the fights. I am so excited. This is one of the biggest fight cards ever. This is one of the biggest fight cards, if not the biggest fight card I have seen. It's going to clear UFC 300, I think, by a mile. And we are here again to help predictions and again to talk about it on the MMA Maniac channel. So let's get right to it. Diego Lopes and Steve Garcia, an absolute car crash of a fight happening here to start off the card. Now, if you're new to the channel, once again, I have a checklist here that I go off of to predict these fights. It at least helps me, and I'm hoping it helps you as well. So this is my first prediction video. We're going to see how this goes. Like I said, we might add to this list as we go on in the future. We might remove some stuff. So if there's anything that you ever see or want to put in, just comment below. But here we go. Steve Garcia versus Diego Lopes. I do have Diego Lopes winning by submission in round 2. And my confidence on that is about 60%. Like I said, this is a car crash. Anything can happen in this fight. But I do believe that there's going to be a wild exchange in which Diego Lopes catches Steve Garcia and then jumps on him. So when we do look at the factors that go into this fight, Diego Lopes, his grappling is his specialty. Steve Garcia, not really a specialist in anything, right? But Diego Lopes is an absolute stud on the ground. He can do whatever he wants. We saw what he did to Gene Silva. He was in full mount, beating the crap out of him. And we have never seen Gene Silva, taken over like that. Now, I know Gene Silva had a good round 2. Obviously, that led to Diego Lopes spinning elbowing him. But Diego Lopes, definitely a grappling specialist. We move on. The frame advantage, slightly taller for Steve Garcia, 3-inch reach. Significant reach advantage, but, nothing that I think is going to really affect this fight too much. The age and weight cut, there's no weight cut issues for either fighter, but Diego Lopes is a bit younger. You see him, he's 3 years younger. Cardio, not a problem at all. Speed advantage. Now, this is where it gets interesting, right? Because when we think of Diego Lopes, he hits like a truck. He can hit very hard. Steve Garcia throws a lot of punches well, and has some power behind him. So that's definitely going to be his way of winning this fight if he does win this fight. The speed advantage, the power advantage, and the volume all going to Steve Garcia. Diego Lopes is almost a Muay Thai kind of style of striking. If he does throw combinations, they're a bit shorter. But Steve Garcia can throw longer combinations and does so more frequently. As we see there, now he has faced lesser competition, but he's about 2 more strikes ahead per minute than Diego Lopes. Again, Diego Lopes has fought very high-level competition, especially Alexander Volkanovski twice, who is extremely difficult to hit, to gun down, unless you're Ilia Topuria, right? So we move on. As I said before, the people in, the fighter in black, if you keep seeing their name, that's what they're good at for the head-to-head matchup. That's their advantage, and vice versa with the red. The gold is for context. It's just, there really isn't a head-to-head, like I said, hand position, right? We're not going to say that this person has an advantage in the hand position, but it's just something to keep in mind when we're predicting these fights if you're trying to bet as well. So when we look at the single punches or combinations, I've kind of said that before. Muay Thai kind of style from Diego Lopes, kind of a single puncher, shorter combos. Steve Garcia, way more frequent. Diego Lopes has his hands kind of glued to his face. Now his chin does come up a lot, and he also has that little like itch thing going on. It's like a nervous twitch or something, they said, from an injury that happened to him a while ago. So he's always kind of doing that. Do with that with you will, what you will. But Steve Garcia, active guard, hands away from chin, at least one of them. So he kind of has that like kind of a sword, sticking out a sword with his lead hand, and he's a southpaw. Lead leg heavy stance. Now I always put this in there because the lead leg heavy stance fighters are always more exposed to leg kicks. I've seen it way too often, and as much as I might not like Joe Rogan constantly talking about low kicks every single time, it is a factor. So Diego Lopes, lead leg heavy stance for sure, and Steve Garcia does not have a lead leg heavy stance, but he also doesn't throw that many kicks. At least I wouldn't say that I'm worried about the low kick from Steve Garcia, from Diego Lopes. Somebody like Volk, who I know always taps at that leg, it's going to be a bit of a problem, right? But Steve Garcia, I don't really see it being a problem for Diego Lopes. Neither have scar tissue. Now, I put that in there just because if somebody's bleeding, obviously damage is the number one criteria. That could hurt a fighter if it goes to a decision. They could also stop the fight. We never know what the doctor's going to do. We've seen Irene Aldana with a gash like to her skull, and she was able to fight, bleeding down the face. She was able to continue, and we've seen little cuts over the eyelid that are called. So we never know. So it's something to keep in mind. But both fighters here don't really have the scar tissue. Diego Lopes has not been finished, and Steve Garcia was, but that was at lightweight. Now, this is a featherweight fight, and it was all the way back in 2022. So, again, something to keep in mind. Both guys have finishing instincts. Steve Garcia is an animal. He's going to try to finish you with striking. Diego Lopes, I think, can just go wherever he wants, right? He loves to finish you in the grappling department, and he can finish you with strikes, more so in grappling, though. The mental toughness from both, I put in there. Yes, they bark because they are both dogs. Like I said, this is going to be an absolute car crash of a fight. Last fight of the contract, and this is something just a little extra motivation maybe from a certain fighter, something to always keep in mind when picking these fights. As we see here, Diego Lopes is not on his last fight. Now, he's also never, he's not going to be cut or anything. Steve Garcia is on his last fight of the contract. He might want some, more money. He might think that this is a great opportunity to really show who he is in the UFC. So it's something to keep in mind, especially being on the White House card. This is a gigantic opportunity. Home advantage, crowd factor. Diego Lopes is a superstar, right? Well, I'll say he's a star. He was rising to the top of the charts, you could say, as a fighter, especially in El Noche UFC. I mean, the dude comes out and he's got the whole arena dancing to the mariachi band, right? Wearing his Mexican hat and stuff. It's amazing. I love Diego Lopes. He is a star. He can become a superstar with a finish in this fight, and really raise his stock. So it's something to consider. Steve Garcia, not hate it. People love him. He usually puts on a great fight, but he's not a star yet. He could be after this fight. Cage size I put on there. Now you'll see this on all the lists that I'm about to go through, but this is a full size cage. We only worry about that when it's the apex, because we still have to worry about the apex. It's okay. It's okay. So full-size cage, not going to really affect anybody's game plan here. And like I said, the X factor, both have been pretty active fighters, but the X factor here is that Diego Lopes, this is a star moment. He can continue his dominance in featherweight. He's only lost to Volk. And as far as Steve Garcia goes, now I put both of them in this category. You'll see there's times where it's only one that has the advantage in this, X factor category. But Steve Garcia, again, huge moment to become a star. You can tell he really wants it. He is not just like a lollygag fighter, just going with the flow. He wants this. He is an animal. He would beat one of the top contenders at featherweight. It would be a huge message sent to the division. And again, last fight contract, he's definitely not going to get cut. But again, something more of an incentive for him to go out there and do well. However, I do have Diego Lopes. Like I said, round 2 submission. I really do see him getting, just clipping Steve Garcia somehow. Steve Garcia has not fought anybody like Diego Lopes. And this is a huge jump up for him. So going with Diego Lopes here, even though we see these head-to-head categories, Steve Garcia does technically win, but I put a lot of value in the fact that Diego Lopes is an absolute specialist on the ground. We move on to Bo Nickal and Kyle Daukaus. I can't wait to talk about this fight. If there's one thing you need to know about me, it's who I don't like as fighters. Bo Nickal, I despise as a fighter, and I'll tell you why. When you have all this hype as a fighter, as the next UFC star, it looks unbeatable. Now, nobody outside of Ilia Topuria right now can be untouched, right? Somebody always gets caught. Somebody always gets their lesson learned. Bo Nickal fought Val Woodburn, a scrub from the regional scene. I think he was from the regional scene. He was a nobody. He's out of the UFC again. He'll never touch the UFC canvas again. Bo Nickal knocked him out with shoddy striking, may I add. His footwork was shoddy. He knocks Val Woodburn out and then does this. Does this. Does this as a celebration around the cage. Was I supposed to be impressed? Who watched that fight and went, here's Bo Nickal. Watch out, everyone. I think it was a huge message sent to the community that this dude might not even believe in himself. Because when you beat Val Woodburn, again, a garbage can, when you beat a garbage can, you should know you're going to beat a garbage can. He had the advantage everywhere. Val Woodburn didn't even move. He was a punching bag. And Bo Nickal's going, I don't know if he practiced that when he was sparring, when he was practicing on the heavy bag, but I have not liked him ever since. Anyway, I digress. So here we are in the fight, head-to-heads. Bo Nickal, Kyle Daukaus. I don't think any of them are a specialist. I know Bo Nickal is supposed to be a wrestling specialist. I have yet to see him be a specialist with wrestling. I have not seen him be dominant. I have not seen him ever make me think, or really make these fighters think that his wrestling is so controlling and powerful that that's going to, win him the fight. So I don't think I don't think these two guys are specialists. Kyle Daukaus, probably more of a BJJ guy. Again, good on the ground, nothing crazy, decent all around, but neither a specialist. Height and frame advantage, 1 inch height for Kyle Daukaus, same reach, nothing crazy here, but there is a 1 inch height, so I put Kyle Daukaus. Age and weight, Bo Nickal is younger. Neither have weight cut issues, so that should be fine. And the cardio is pretty much matched, right? We haven't seen these guys go 5 rounds in the UFC. Bo Nickal has gone 3 rounds. And he did go 3 rounds striking, though. And I would like to see him mixing up the wrestling a lot and see if that cardio holds up. I imagine it does. He is a high-level wrestler who's wrestled at Penn State. I imagine that his cardio stays. But it kind of cancels out, right? Kyle Daukaus has gone 3 rounds as well. But he's also gone 5 rounds in Cage Fury, which is a pretty good promotion. Again, nowhere near the level of the UFC, but it's good to kind of see that Kyle Daukaus has gone 5 rounds, especially because that was how he got back into the UFC. He went on a run in Cage Fury, became a champion, and now he has his second stint in the UFC, and he's doing quite well. So cardio kind of cancels out there. Speed advantage, I'm giving to Kyle Daukaus, and I'll tell you why I'm giving it to Kyle Daukaus. I don't think Kyle Daukaus is going to be scared of the takedown from Bo Nickal. I think if Bo Nickal does take Kyle Daukaus down, I think Kyle Daukaus believes that he's going to be able to either get up or be in a position where he's not being hurt, and he's going to be able to not let Bo Nickal advance on him. So I think that he's going to be more focused on the striking because he's not going to be as distracted or worried that Bo Nickal's going to take him down as some other fighters are, right? So I'm going to give the speed advantage to Kyle Daukaus. Bo Nickal told the world that he's been boxing since 4. His mom has been giving him boxing lessons, and I don't see it again. So call me crazy, do what you want with that, but Kyle Daukaus with a speed advantage. Bo Nickal does have the power advantage, I think. Is he single KO, single punch KO guy? No, I don't think so. But probably definitely has a little bit more of the power. Kyle Daukaus, way more volume. Kyle Daukaus, variety of strikes. I don't see, I know Bo Nickal just knocked out basically a retired Rodolfo Vieira, who's a BJJ guy. We'll get to that. We'll get to that fight. But Kyle Daukaus, variety of strikes, knees, and like I said, won't be afraid of takedowns. So I think his arsenal is going to be open for that. So we go on here. We have the, like I said, the context kind of categories. Bo Nickal, definitely a low combo, short combo kind of guy. Single straight punches, not much being thrown. Kyle Daukaus throws combos. Hand position, Bo Nickal, low lead hand. And that might be a factor in this fight because Kyle Daukaus can throw straight down the pipe. He does, Bo Nickal does have his chin, or has his right hand back to his chin, but like I said, that hand is low. That lead hand is very low. Kyle Daukaus, high hands, will definitely get active with them, but more of a higher guard. That could expose him for takedowns, but like I said, I don't think he's worried about the takedowns. So lead leg, heavy stance here. Nickal, very mobile, bouncy stance. A lot of those wrestlers usually are. Kyle Daukaus a little bit heavier on that lead leg. So Bo Nickal, if he wants a low kick, maybe he can. I don't really see any low kicks coming from him. I don't think there's any real damage from those low kicks. So again, I don't think it's going to be exposed for Kyle there. Scar tissue, no. However, Kyle Daukaus, I did not know this, but researching it, has had surgery on his face, and it said it was like a 3-part surgery on his face. So his orbital bones and his face in general can be very vulnerable. Obviously, something like that being hit could blow up the face, really be good for damage if Bo Nickal does do that. And usually when you see guys like that, like with blown up orbitals, they don't win the fight much. It's just so hard to overlook something like that. Have they ever been finished? Absolutely. I went crazy when I watched RDR put knees into Bo Nickal. I was absolutely loving it. RDR is a huge, massive middleweight, but Bo Nickal thought he was going to win that fight, and he got knees to the body. So that was the only time he was finished, and not since 2022 for Kyle Daukaus. Ground and pound from both Dolidze and Anders. Dolidze was on a little bit of a run. It was either a little bit of a run or he started his run at that time. Not the greatest look, but again, back in 2022, I'm kind of separating the first and second stint for Kyle Daukaus. He seems to have figured out a little bit more. Finishing instincts. Bo Nickal, I would say kind of. I'm not going to be rude on that one. He does. He's knocked out a lot of people in the Contender Series, and I think he truly does go for finishes. But I think he also knows that he probably has better cardio than some of these guys and can wrestle, so he can maybe outpoint them as well. But he does. He kind of does. I don't see him with single KO power or anything. Kyle Daukaus, more so than not, I would say, for his finishing instincts, not crazy danger, but he's capable of it. Mental toughness. This is another category that I think is very interesting. Bo Nickal quit in that RDR fight. Now, that was his first taste of getting his ass whooped, right? I want to know if Bo Nickal brings out another side of him if he goes in here and Kyle Daukaus is doing way better than he thought he would, right? If it's like the second round and Kyle Daukaus has shown that he can stop the takedowns from Bo Nickal and he's piecing Bo Nickal up a little bit, is Bo Nickal going to do what he did with RDR and just kind of shell up? I'm very interested to see that, because as of right now, he's not a dog in my book. Kyle Daukaus, I would say is maybe more so than not, but he definitely could quit too. He can definitely be finished. But yeah, nothing definitive on there. I will not say that they bark like Diego Lopes or Steve Garcia. Last fight of contract, no, for both of them. Home advantage. Bo Nickal has not reached stardom. He is the buddy of the president. And there's a lot of mixed opinions. There's a lot of people who like Bo Nickal. I think they are 40-year-old wrestling dads who have their sons at wrestling, colleges and stuff. I think that's his fan base, and that's nothing wrong with that. Brings in that fan base for him. But yeah, I don't see. There's a lot of mixed opinions. Obviously, I despise him. And then Kyle Daukaus, not really known. He's from Philadelphia, and but he's not hated, right? Nobody kind of knows who he is, and that might work to his advantage. Cage size, again, full size. Nothing really going to happen. No changes to the game plan. And other notes. Now, like I said, Bo Nickal has not lived up to the hype. That Val Woodburn fight was ridiculous, in my opinion. I will never forget this. I would love to see him do it to somebody who is a good level of competition. And he has enormous pressure, man. And every time he has like a bad performance, he's going over to Dana White, Sean Shelby, all of them. And he's just like apologizing. And it's just odd to me. I know he wants to do better, but he's going to have enormous pressure here. He somehow finds his way onto this UFC White House card. And I don't know, man. It might be a lot when you're facing a Kyle Daukaus who has a chance to make a name for himself, has no pressure whatsoever, really has no pressure on him. And it's a good style matchup. I don't think Bo Nickal's wrestling is that great. I think it might cancel out with Kyle Daukaus' jiu-jitsu. And then if it's a stand-up fight, I think Kyle Daukaus is going to be the guy who's going to strike better. So, crazy pick. I'm going Kyle Daukaus. And that is unbiased. I would pick Bo Nickal. I would pick Bo Nickal against Paul Craig. I absolutely picked him against Rodolfo Vieira. This is unbiased. My picks will always be unbiased, but I will always let you know if I despise them and why I despise them. Kyle Daukaus KO late round 2. I just see the knees to the body. Kyle Daukaus has that lanky frame. A little bit bigger than Bo Nickal, I would say. Maybe like wider. And I just see body getting hit by the knees of Kyle Daukaus. I just see it happening. I don't know why, but that's my prediction. Late round 2 KO by Kyle Daukaus. And I'm a 55% confident level on this because I can see Bo Nickal wet blanketing him somehow. And then all of a sudden, it's like his wrestling won him the fight, and I'm just completely wrong. But that's okay. We move on to the next fight. I can't wait. This is another one. Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler has lost so many fights. And is constantly gifted fights. He has a silver spoon. It's Dana White just feeds him all the time. I have no idea. I have friends that tell me, oh, well, he's a brawler. But there's something about losing so many times consecutively that just pisses me off. I am also a huge Charles Oliveira fan. And I watched Charles Oliveira dominate Michael Chandler not once but twice. And the second time, Michael Chandler had just a bit of hope because he eye-poked Charles. And then that's when the 5th round happened. And then all the stupid slamming. I just can't deal with it. But anyway, he's a good guy. You know, I'm not going to go at his character or anything. You know, he does bring exciting fights. I love that he gets hit a lot. This fight is easy to predict. I might not even go through it. We all know Mauricio Ruffy, whatever the pronunciation is there, is the better striker. Michael Chandler loops in punches, in my opinion, like somebody on the street who has no idea how to fight does. So that might be harsh, but I think that's what he does. And Ruffy is just an absolute sniper, okay? Just a sniper on the feet. Also, hadn't completely forgot about this. Michael Chandler is 40 years old, which is crazy to me. You know, Ruffy's 30 or 31. That's bizarre to me. So yeah, Michael Chandler, always kind of been a Bellator guy, never really a UFC guy, right? So yeah, I got Mauricio here on so many categories. And he can be an absolute star if he highlight KOs Michael Chandler, which I think he does. You know, Michael Chandler really only has the home advantage here, and that is it. When I talk about X Factor, Michael Chandler is on the last fight of his contract. Usually the UFC wants people on their last fight of the contract to lose when they're this old. So he might retire after this. I'm sure he's made a good amount of money. And I just think karma's going to get him. I think just because one of his wins is against Tony Ferguson, one of his few wins in the UFC, him front kicking Tony Ferguson, karma's going to come back to him. And my prediction for this fight is that Mauricio KOs him late round 1, while Michael Chandler comes in and he is going to face plant on the canvas while Mauricio just steps aside. It will be disgusting. I will be thrilled if I see that happen. Just because karma is a bitch, Michael Chandler, for what you did to Tony Ferguson. Out cold, face plant on the canvas, doesn't make it to round 2. We move on. Josh Hokit, Derrick Lewis. I might be pronouncing these names wrong, but whatever. This fight's a little interesting. Now, Hokit, great wrestler and has hands. We just saw it in the Curtis Blades fight, right? Crazy brawler. Now, with one of these, I would say Hokit's a specialist with wrestling. And I mean, honestly, the boxing's not bad either, but definitely for wrestling, right? Now, you'll see in some of these videos, the brawler is in the notes, right? Derrick Lewis is a brawler. I will never consider that a specialty, but I will put it in here because I think that's like a certain type of fighter, right? And he has one-touch KO power for sure. The height and reach advantage. He has a 6-inch reach advantage on Josh. I had no idea his arms were that long. It's crazy. He has a 2-inch height advantage as well, so he's a bigger guy. Neither have had weight issues, you know, but here's the thing. Is Derrick Lewis going to be in shape or is he not? Because I've only seen him in shape once, and the other times are a little rough, okay? I love Derrick Lewis. I'm not going at him or anything, but it's true. So, Josh Hokit, 13 years younger than Derrick Lewis. And he's an athlete, dude. He is an actual athlete. So, this is no surprise, I don't think. But I am going to go with him late round 1 KO because I think Derrick Lewis is just going to get hit too much and eventually quit. We see it, you know, on, where's it at here? On the cardio. He will quit. He will absolutely quit. We just saw him against Waldo Cortez Acosta, and he wasn't even moving, man. It was so sad to see. He's older. You know, he's been a legend in the game, really. You know, a lot of people know about Derrick Lewis. But it was sad to see that. It was really sad to see that. He cannot get up if he goes down either. So, yeah, a lot of things going here. Again, the power advantage is definitely to Lewis, for sure. But it's not going to be enough, man. Everybody loves him. Again, the crowd factor. Everybody loves him. I would love nothing more than see Derrick Lewis take his pants off on the White House lawn and just run around with it swinging in the air. I would love. I don't think there's anything more American, actually. To be completely honest, I don't think there's anything more American. I know the president would love it. I know a lot of people would love it. I would be thrilled as well. But I don't think it's happening, man. This is a huge opportunity for Josh. He's going to be on the mic. You know how he is. I don't like what he's doing on the mic either, but this is a huge opportunity for him, and he's going to call out bigger names. Alex Pereira was talking about possibility of him getting cut, of Josh getting cut after this fight. I don't know what that was from, but something to look at in the future. But yeah, late round 1, 70%, only because Lewis does have that huge reach, and if he touches Josh clean, then maybe he wins. But yeah, hoping for the underwear, or hoping for the pants to come off, but I don't see it. We move on. O'Malley Zahabi, not even close. Not even close. I'm so confident this will not be a fight. O'Malley wins in every single category, and he's got the reach, he's got the height, he's 8 years younger. Zahabi's a 38-year-old in bantamweight. You rarely see that. You do not see, at least successful bantamweights, be old, right? It's definitely a younger man's division, and to be honest, I didn't know he was 38. I thought he was older, but I did not think he was 38 years of age. So that's a problem, man, I think, in bantamweight, especially when you're facing one of the best bantamweights in the division. Sean O'Malley is absolutely no joke. He, the cardio's no issue here. O'Malley's striking is damn near perfect. It's just impeccable. I absolutely love watching it. I kind of love that Chito Vera went 5 rounds with him, because we just saw the whole arsenal let go from Sean O'Malley. And obviously he has KO power as well, and I think that's what's going to happen here, man. I think Zahabi, who is I love Faraz Zahabi. I think he's a good coach. A little questionable in the last fight. I forget who it was, but was it Rob Font? I think he was coaching Rob Font, and Rob Font came out with a stance that was just wide and low and just not good for a striker in Rob Font. But anyway, Zahabi here, I just don't think he's going to have anything for him, man. He doesn't present any danger. O'Malley's going to be the guy, and I can just see, again, man, kind of Zahabi just walking into something, almost like the Aljamain Sterling KO, which also I want to bring up because Sean O'Malley lives for these moments. I know he's lost twice to Merab, one of the best, if not the best bantamweights ever. But Sean O'Malley lives for superstar moments. And this is the biggest moment that he might ever have in his career. Because he can get another championship, sure. He already had one. But this is a completely different animal. Huge card. I just see him performing because he is a performer. So KO early round 2. He's been talking about it too. O'Malley's been talking for 3 months now about him wanting a KO. He needs a KO because he also wants the title shot against Peter Yan, who we all know he's beaten. I thought Yan won the fight, but that's okay. He did beat Peter Yan, and he could easily be in the next title fight if he wins, especially if he KOs Zahabi like I think he will. I don't know if it's going to be a face plant, but I think he's going to get... I think it's going to be a highlight reel. So, O'Malley, I didn't even put the confidence level. It's 100%. It's 100%. Alex Pereira is my hero. I have not liked Ciryl Adesanya for years. And before Pereira even came to the UFC, I was dying that he comes to the UFC to beat Adesanya. He gave me one of the best moments of my life. He also gave me one of the worst moments of my life when he got KO'd. That's okay. And if Adesanya fights again, I'll get into why I don't like him. But I also have been coming around to him a bit more just because he's gone finished the last 3 fights. It's a great thing to see. So, here we go. This is a great fight. Alex Pereira, Ciryl Gane, everybody's looking towards this one, right? Hell of a co-main event here. 2 kickboxers. That's their specialty. Gane is obviously a natural heavyweight. He's insanely fast for a heavyweight. He is the fastest heavyweight. There's no debating that. But Alex Pereira's got that power, right? We all know he's got ungodly power in those stone hands that he has. And he is a light heavyweight moving up to heavyweight. We got to keep that in mind. Gane definitely has the bigger frame, I think. Pereira's kind of more loaded on the bottom, right? The bottom half of him. Ciryl Gane's just kind of everywhere. I don't really think that's going to be a huge advantage here, but like I said, I mean, it's a 2-inch reach, a bigger frame. They're the same height, I believe, so I had to put Gane there to win, or to, you know, win that head-to-head category there. Weight cut, no issues, and Gane is 2 years younger, something to consider if you want. People have been talking about the sparring footage from Alex. I don't put any value into those videos. I used to, and it just doesn't predict anything, man. Especially because one of those shots from Pereira can just put you out. You have to hit him a lot. So I don't put any value in that. I wouldn't even listen to that stuff. The cardio is fine. We've seen both go 5 rounds. Speed advantage to Gane, power to Pereira, and Gane definitely throwing the more combinations, right? Definitely throwing more combinations, longer combinations. Pereira will really do that when you're up against the cage and behind that black line, right? That's when he really starts unloading those combos. And when he's in the center of the cage, he's low kicking, which hurts everybody quickly, and you know, throwing more straight, right? Throwing single punches. So semi-low, wide stance from Pereira, active hands from Gane. I would be concerned, for Alex with the low hands, but he's got this weird shoulder rolling kind of defense. Now his chin may be a bit up, but the way he dodges punches is so interesting to me. You don't really see it. Like I said, it's kind of like he's got that wide stance there with his hands, but he almost shoulder rolls, not completely, but it's effective for him. He's done well with it, obviously. So neither of them have a heavy lead leg stance. They're both kickboxers. They bounce around everywhere. You know, Ciryl Gane usually goes around the cage. Pereira's just always hopping up and down. No scar tissue or any of them. That's not going to be something that affects this fight. They've been finished before, obviously. At middleweight, Pereira has been finished. Gane was choked out by Jones. So, again, really kind of cancel out. They're most likely not getting finished. Finishing instincts. Alex Pereira has too much finishing instincts. It's disgusting that he just talks to gods before fights and just takes the soul away from his opponents. Gane also has finishing instincts. It takes a little bit longer, but he can outpoint fighters, right? I think sometimes he tries to get into that rhythm of just outpointing somebody. But he definitely has his finishing instincts as well. Both are dogs, man. I will admit, man, Gane against Ngannou, And Gane was the scariest person in the UFC, and Gane went 5 rounds with him and almost won the fight. He did well. He did very well in that fight. And mental toughness for Alex is crazy. He was injured in that Ankalaev fight, and he got through 5 rounds. And we saw what he did the next time. It was bad. No last fight for either of them on the contract. Alex Pereira is an absolute superstar. He might be the face of the UFC if it wasn't Topuria. I believe Topuria is the face of the UFC. So he's a superstar, man. Gane is just kind of semi-hated, right, after that Tom Aspinall fight. And I'll get to that in a second. And he's facing Alex. Nobody facing Alex is really going to be liked more than Alex, right? Even Yuri, who everybody loves. God, he got head kicked so hard. Anyway, cage, again, full size. Alex Pereira has a chance to become a 3-division champion. That would be insane. He is absolutely terrifying. That's his X factor, I think, dude. He literally is absolutely terrifying. It's ridiculous how scary he is. Gane can prove that he's an actual champion and can perform in big moments. And that's where I think this fight is determined. This is gigantic. Pereira will walk into any fight, will walk in at any time, short notice, whatever, and he performs. Ciryl Gane looked like a deer in the headlights against John Jones, man. It was so telling how much he does not deal with pressure, right? He's not good at dealing with pressure. He could mix it up, which would be an interesting route for him to take, but I don't see it happening. I don't see him, I just don't see him being effective. He might mix it up, but he's not going to be effective with it. I think Alex Pereira is going to be so strong at heavyweight that, and his takedown defense isn't that bad, man. He's got tall legs too. I think Adesanya was even saying that in his video, that he's not going to be easy to be taken down. So, prediction here, and I've been saying this since this fight was announced. Alex Pereira is going to KO him. It's going to be the late round 3. And it's going to be, I didn't even put the probability here because I'm very confident in this. I've been 100% confident since day one. Even though I've heard the talk about Ciryl Gane looking better, Ciryl Gane looking bigger, Alex Pereira looking slow, the difficulty it is to have a 3-division champ. When Alex Pereira kicks your leg, which Ciryl Gane's leg is exposed a lot during the fight, it's going to take 1 at heavyweight. I truly think that. If it doesn't take 1, it takes 3. Alex Pereira is a kickboxer. He's going to find the low kick. And when he kicks Ciryl Gane's leg out from underneath him, like a fat man sitting on a chair, okay? Just breaking down. Ciryl Gane is not going to be able to move, which is how he depends on winning. Then the hook comes. And Ciryl Gane might be knocked out cold on the canvas. We will see. Now, I forget who it was, but Ciryl Gane was training and getting tips from a, let's see here on Tapology, from a Artem Vakitov, I think. Might be, again, pronouncing it wrong. Artem was telling Ciryl Gane to go forward. He was saying that Alex is exposed when he's not on the attack, right? Ciryl Gane is never going to go forward unless you're tied to a Vasa who's already hurt, right? He is never going to go forward. So I don't care that Vakitov, or whatever his name was, beat Pereira in a unanimous decision. I don't think Gane's ever going to move forward in his life when he fights. So, Alex Pereira, KO, late round 3. And we already know. I hope anybody watching this is not thinking that Justin Gaethje is winning this fight. I'm praying. Because the moment he won against Paddy Pimblett, I said a prayer. Okay, I said a prayer for old JG here. Because I'm terrified of the visual that might occur on the White House lawn. Okay? If it was in a stadium, I wouldn't even be that worried. But because this is a massive event, and because I'm an American, I see Justin Gaethje. I gotta watch what I say here. I think his head might come off of him. And it might go close to people watching around the cage. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that at all. But this dude, Ilia Topuria, I have been on since Jai Herbert. That fight with Jai Herbert was the nastiest KO I've ever seen after a combination. Flatlined Jai Herbert. All of his fights, this dude just continuously impresses me. I have picked him ever since. I picked him against Holloway. I picked him against Oliveira. Emmett was easy. There was fighters that he faced that were absolutely so easy to pick him. But there was a lot of talk about Charles beating him. There was a lot of talk about Max Holloway beating him. And I laughed, and I laughed, and I laughed. It sucked because I wasn't even surprised when these knockouts happened. Again, I'm a Charles fan. I knew what was going to happen. What I did not know was going to happen in that fight was that Charles Oliveira would go to the ground with him and Ilia Topuria would flip him over like a pancake so goddamn easily. So easily. Couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe he was that dominant on the ground. He can do whatever he wants. I hope that Ilia Topuria, after all this divorce and everything, I just hope he hasn't flipped the menu. If you know anything about Charlie Sheen, you know what that means. Because if he flipped the menu, if Topuria has flipped the menu, Gaethje might be in for a rude awakening. I'm serious, man. Terrifying. I don't even need to go through this. Topuria, Gaethje's got a little bit of a height advantage on him. He throws more punches, maybe. We all know Justin Gaethje. He's a brawler. He's had great fights. I also did not like when he was talking shit on Charles Oliveira, but we saw what happened in that fight. And now he's talking crap about Topuria. He's talking about his life, and why would you do that? Why would you do that? It's like, he's so stupid for doing that, because at first it was all even, it was all fine, everything was calm, and now I'm gonna piss him off the most, which means there is only going to be more power in those hands. Justin Gaethje has a high guard. I worry for his body. I think his ribs might shoot out the other end of his body. Ilia can I will say this. The head kick from Jai Herbert was definitely something where you can look at and think maybe he can be exposed. His hand does come down when he's in combinations on that right side. He can be exposed there. But I don't see it, man. I know Justin Gaethje just knocked out Dustin Poirier recently with a head kick. I just don't see it, man. I don't see it. I think it's always harder for fighters to actually punch down rather than punch up. Topuria has that advantage now, if you think that way. And Jai Herbert's just such a lanky guy, man. I think it happens. You're going to get caught. Like I said, nobody's untouchable. But ever since, man, this dude's been untouchable. Ilia Topuria, it will be the most violent. If he has a better knockout than Jai Herbert on this, I will be terrified for Islam Makhachev. Terrified. I think this fight, again, you can look at this. He's got way too much finishing instincts. He is the face of MMA. He will KO Justin Gaethje on the White House lawn. Early round 2. early round 2. And I know I've had the last 2 fights, I think, at like 100%, and this one's 99. I think I was just trying to be nice to Justin. Really. I think I was just trying to be nice. Because I don't have anything that like I was pissed about him talking shit to Charles. But other than that, I don't have much against him. So, but yeah, those are the fight predictions. That's the checklist. Again, you can use it. So this checklist I've pretty much agreed with outside of, let's see here, Pereira, Gane. Gane had more head-to-heads, and so did Garcia actually against Lopes. I've gone against those 2, and I will keep a record of my picks and the picks for this checklist. But yeah, man. Yeah. I can't wait for this. Great card. We are so blessed. We are so lucky to have this. I hope it happens. I'm hearing rain right now as I do this video. But we got a couple days, and I think there might be a finish in every single one of these fights, man. I'm looking forward to it. I will see you all later. This is the MMA Maniac channel. Like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you feel, and we will see you soon. I just keep seeing his head. I just keep seeing Justin's head, man.